Admiral Kaizen Blackwood stared at the alien delegation through narrowed eyes, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the harsh light of Earth's United Council chamber. The Vexari ambassador, Mirkal, clicked his mandibles in what passed, for amusement among his kind. "Your species lacks perspective," Mirkal said, mandibles twitching. "The galactic conclave has existed for 17 millennia. Earth is but a speck, a primitive outpost at the edge of civilized space." Blackwood remained stone-faced. Humanity had only discovered faster-than-light travel 30 years ago, and in that brief span they'd encountered a universe teeming with ancient civilizations, most of which viewed humans as little more than clever animals. "We understand our position perfectly," Blackwood replied, "which is why I must be clear. Stay away from the Epsilon corridor." The alien delegation erupted in clicking laughter. The Epsilon corridor, a narrow band of unusually stable wormholes connecting 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, had been discovered by human explorers just months ago. Its strategic value was immediately apparent. "You claim ownership of cosmic pathways you barely comprehend?" scoffed Dralax, the Hanzari representative, his crystalline skin refracting rainbow patterns across the chamber walls. "The Conclave has decreed the corridor open to all spacefaring species." Director Vivian Takeda stepped forward, the holographic displays behind her lighting up with detailed charts. At 67, she was the architect of Earth's rapid military expansion, a necessity born of humanity's vulnerable position among the stars. "The Epsilon corridor passes through human space," she stated flatly. "Our analysis indicates its exploitation would threaten Earth security. Your space was only recently discovered by your primitive vessels." Mirkal clicked dismissively. "The Conclave has reallocated these transit rights." Commander Reiko Akamatsu, standing beside Blackwood, pressed a button. The chamber's display shifted to show the deployment of Earth's modest but growing fleet. A fraction of what the Conclave could field, but positioned with unmistakable intent around the Epsilon access points. "This isn't a negotiation," Akamatsu said quietly. "It's a warning." The Vexari ambassador's compound eyes flashed with something like pity. "You misunderstand your place in the cosmic order. The Conclave has permitted your species autonomy because you pose no threat. This posturing may change that assessment." Blackwood leaned forward. "Perhaps you misunderstand us, Ambassador. Humanity has studied your histories. Every emerging species that surrendered strategic assets was eventually subjugated. Those who defended their borders earned respect." Respect? The word seemed to amuse Mirkal. "Your species has existed for a mere eye blink." And in that eye blink, Takeda interjected, "We've advanced from primitive flight to interstellar travel. Consider our trajectory carefully." The silence stretched uncomfortably until Dralax's crystalline form shimmered with apparent amusement. "Your warning is noted, humans, and dismissed. The Conclave fleet will begin transit operations through the Epsilon corridor within 1 planetary rotation." As the delegation departed, Blackwood turned to his colleagues, face grim. "They didn't listen," Akamatsu murmured. "They never do," Blackwood replied. "Initiate Operation Choke Point." Takeda nodded sharply. "The Conclave believes they're dealing with frightened primitives. By tomorrow, they'll understand what humanity does when backed into a corner." Outside, Earth's orbital shipyards hummed with activity, constructing vessels that the Conclave representatives had never been permitted to see. Warships unlike anything their intelligence had reported, built by a species that had spent its entire history perfecting the art of war. The Conclave fleet emerged from subspace precisely where Earth's tacticians had predicted. 67 ships of various configurations, primarily Vexari and Hanzari designs, their hulls adorned with the ancient symbols of species that had traveled the stars when humans were still discovering fire. Captain Orion Malik watched from the bridge of the EWS Defiance, hidden behind the third moon of Jupiter, along with 30 other Earth vessels. Unlike the ceremonial ships the aliens had seen, these were predators, streamlined, heavily armed, and shielded with technology reverse-engineered from a dozen different alien wrecks that had accidentally drifted into human space over the years. "Signal from Fleet Command," announced Lieutenant Kira Nova, her augmented eyes processing data streams from across the system. "Operation Choke Point is green." Malik nodded. "Excellent. Deploy quantum mesh." Throughout the solar system, precisely positioned satellites activated simultaneously, generating an interlocking field of gravimetric disturbances. The conclave ships, unprepared for this technology they'd believed beyond human capabilities, found their engines faltering as subspace warped around them. "Mesh deployed and stable," Nova confirmed. "Conclave fleet is immobilized." Malik allowed himself a thin smile. "Bring us out of hiding. Standard combat formation." The Earth fleet emerged from concealment, not just from Jupiter's moons, but from asteroid fields, from within Saturn's rings, from the shadow of Mars, positions that should have been impossible to hide within, yet human ingenuity had found a way. "Open communications," Malik ordered. The view screen flickered to life, showing the startled face of the Vexari fleet commander. "This is Captain Orion Malik of the Earth warship Defiance. Your vessels have entered restricted space despite explicit warnings. You are now experiencing the consequences of that decision." The Vexari's mandibles clicked rapidly in what humans had learned was a sign of agitation. "This is outrageous. The Conclave will not—" "The Conclave is not here," Malik interrupted. "Only us, only you, and you cannot move." On cue, the Earth vessels activated their primary weapon systems, not the primitive fusion cannons the aliens expected, but concentrated beams that sliced through the outer hull of the Conclave flagship with surgical precision, disabling its primary engines without destroying the vessel. The Vexari commander's compound eyes widened. "How? We've been studying you," Malik explained calmly. "Every piece of technology your kind has flaunted. Every accidental weapons discharge near our colonies. Every transmission you thought we couldn't intercept." Lieutenant Nova spoke, without looking up from her console. "Sir, Conclave vessels are attempting emergency subspace jumps." "Let them try," Malik replied. The Conclave ship's jump drives engaged and immediately failed as the quantum mesh reconfigured around them, countering each attempted frequency. "Impossible," the Vexari commander hissed. "This technology is beyond primitives like us." Malik finished. "That was your first mistake. Your second was believing we would show you everything we had. Humanity has been at war with itself for millennia. We understand deception better than most." He gestured, and the Defiance's weapons disabled 2 more Conclave vessels with precision strikes. "You have one option," Malik continued. "Complete withdrawal from the Epsilon Corridor and recognition of human sovereignty over this transit route. Otherwise, we will systematically disable every ship in your fleet and tow them back to Earth for research purposes." The threat hung in the silence between them. Until finally, the Vexari commander lowered his head in the first sign of respect any of his kind had shown to humans. "We will withdraw," he agreed reluctantly. "But the Conclave will not forget this." Malik's expression remained unchanged. "Neither will we, and next time we won't be so merciful." 3 months after the Jupiter standoff, as it came to be known, the Galactic Conclave called an emergency session. For the first time in its 17,000-year history, humanity was invited to attend, not as petitioners but as a recognized threat. Ambassador Alara Frost stood before the assembled representatives of 800 species, her silver hair contrasting with the midnight blue of her formal uniform. At her side was Zypher Cato, Earth's foremost xenolinguist and strategist, his cybernetically enhanced eyes constantly scanning the chamber for threat assessments. High Arbiter Loxran of the Etheran Collective, one of the founding species of the Conclave, towered over the proceedings from a hovering platform, his gaseous form contained within a semi-transparent field. The human delegation will explain their unprovoked aggression against Conclave peacekeepers, Loxran intoned, his words translated into vibrations that humans could perceive. Frost smiled thinly. There was nothing unprovoked about our response, Arbiter. We issued clear warnings that were ignored. As for peacekeepers, the fleet we intercepted carried enough firepower to glass 3 planets. Murmurs rippled through the chamber as various species communicated in their native tongues. The Conclave has maintained order for millennia, countered. Representative Azalea of the Hanzari, her crystalline form pulsing with indignation. New species must respect established protocols. Protocols designed to benefit the founding members, Kaito observed quietly, his voice carrying throughout the chamber thanks to subtle acoustic technology built into his uniform. We've studied your history thoroughly. 47 species have been absorbed or rendered extinct after surrendering strategic assets to Conclave protection. Silence fell across the chamber. You access restricted archives, Loxran accused, his gaseous form darkening with what humans had learned to recognize as alarm. Knowledge is power, Frost replied unapologetically. Humanity's survival depends on understanding the true dynamics of interstellar politics, not the sanitized version presented to newcomers. The Vexari representative, not Mirkal, but a higher-ranking official named Trazek, stepped forward. The humans have demonstrated technological capabilities far beyond what they reported during initial contact. This deception violates— We violated nothing, Frost interrupted. Your assessment protocols asked what we were willing to share, not what we possessed. The distinction matters. Kaito activated a holographic display showing the Epsilon corridor and the new defensive structures humanity had established at key points throughout the route over the past 3 months, massive space stations bristling with weapons surrounded by minefields of quantum disruption devices. We are not here to request permission, he stated clearly. We are here to establish understanding. The Epsilon corridor remains under human protection. Any unauthorized transit will be met with the same response as before, or worse. The threat hung in the air for several moments before Loxran spoke again, his tone measured. The Conclave does not respond well to ultimatums, humans. This isn't an ultimatum, Frost replied. It's a boundary, one we've demonstrated we can and will enforce. And if the Conclave decides this boundary is unacceptable? Trazek challenged, his mandibles clicking rapidly. Frost's smile never wavered. Then test us, but be aware. The fleet you encountered represented less than 15% of our military capacity. We've been busy since then. It was a calculated bluff, but delivered with such confidence that doubt rippled through the chamber. The truth was more complex. Earth had indeed been building frantically, but couldn't match the Conclave's full might. Not yet. But they had other advantages. We offer an alternative, Kaito said, changing the tone. Negotiated transit rights with fair compensation to Earth. We don't seek conflict, only respect for our sovereignty and security. Before any representative could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. A messenger rushed to Loxran, communicating in rapid pulses. Of light! What is happening? Demanded Azalea. Loxran's gaseous form pulsed with obvious agitation. 3 Conclave outposts near the Sagittarius Arm have gone silent, simultaneously. All eyes turned to the human delegation. Not our doing, Frost said calmly, though the timing is interesting. The emergency meeting chamber on Ganymede Station hummed with tension as Admiral Blackwood studied the holographic projection of the 3 destroyed Conclave outposts. The attacks bore no resemblance to human tactics. The stations had been completely vaporized, leaving only molecular debris. Analysis confirms it wasn't the Conclave itself, reported Intelligence Director Takeda. This was the work of the Valoth Imperium. Commander Akamatsu frowned. The Valoth? I thought they were confined to the outer reaches. They were, Blackwood confirmed grimly, until the Epsilon Corridor discovery made expansion possible. Our standoff with the Conclave created an opportunity they couldn't resist. The chamber doors slid open, admitting Ambassador Frost and strategist Kaito, recently returned from the Conclave meeting. Behind them, surprisingly, walked Mirkal, the Vexari ambassador who had dismissed Earth's warnings months ago. The situation has evolved, Frost announced without preamble. The Conclave has proposed an alliance. Blackwood's eyebrows rose. Against the Valoth? Precisely, Mirkal clicked, mandibles moving in what humans now recognized as anxiety. The Valoth Imperium has been contained for 9,000 years through careful border management. They are genocidal. They do not conquer. They cleanse and replace. Kaito activated his own data interface, projecting historical records. The Valoth were sealed off after destroying 12 spacefaring civilizations. The Conclave lacks the military cohesion to face them directly. They've relied on containment. And now they're loose, Takeda concluded. Because of the corridor we control. Mirkal's compound eyes fixed on Blackwood. Your species demonstrated unexpected capabilities. The Conclave proposes joint defense of the Epsilon Corridor against Valoth incursion. Blackwood exchanged glances with his colleagues. This was an unprecedented opportunity, recognition of human sovereignty packaged as a military alliance. What exactly are we facing? Akamatsu asked. Mirkal's response was to transmit data to the holographic system. The display shifted to show Valoth warships, organic-looking vessels with hull configurations that seemed to defy physics, weapons that distorted space itself. The Valoth are not like us, Mirkal explained. They evolved in conditions you would consider extreme. Their biology and technology are integrated in ways we still don't fully understand. They view all other life as competition to be eliminated. Why would they target Conclave outposts first? Takeda questioned. If they came through the corridor, our stations would be the logical first target. Kaito nodded thoughtfully. Unless they didn't use the corridor at all. What if they've developed their own method of faster transit? A chill settled over the room as the implications became clear. If that's true, Blackwood said slowly, then containing them is no longer possible. This isn't about the corridor anymore. It's about survival. Mirkal's mandibles clicked rapidly. The Conclave has existed for 17 millennia because we adapt. Your species defended what was yours with unexpected effectiveness. Now we need that effectiveness against an enemy that threatens us all. Blackwood studied the alien carefully. You're not just proposing we defend the corridor together. You want our help throughout Conclave space. Yes, Mirkal admitted. The Conclave fleet is dispersed, designed for peacekeeping, not warfare. Your vessels are purpose-built for combat. In other words, Frost said with a tight smile, you need us more than we need you. Ambassador? Blackwood cautioned. No, Admiral. This needs to be clear. Frost turned to Mirkal. Earth will consider this alliance, but on our terms. Full technological exchange, recognition of human sovereignty over all our claimed territories, and joint command of any combined operations. Mirkal's compound eyes flashed with what might have been outrage, but the alien controlled it quickly. The High Council will resist such terms. Then they'll face the Valoth alone, Takeda stated flatly. After a moment, Mirkal inclined his head in what humans now recognized as the Vexari gesture of acquiescence. I will convey your terms. But time is short. The Valoth move quickly once. They begin expansion. As the ambassador departed, Blackwood turned to his colleagues. Thoughts? It's an opportunity, Kaido said, but also a gamble. If the Valoth are as dangerous as described, we're entering a conflict far beyond our experience. Akamatsu nodded. On the other hand, if we succeed, humanity's position in galactic politics will be secured for generations. And if we fail, Takeda added quietly, there may not be any politics left to worry about. Blackwood stared at the projection of the Valoth ships, his expression hardening. Prepare the fleet. Whatever happens next, Earth will be ready. The command deck of the EWS Indomitable fell silent as the holographic display revealed the true extent of the Valoth advance. 7 more conclave worlds had gone dark in the past week, their destruction absolute. Fleet Admiral Blackwood, now coordinating the combined human conclave defense forces, studied the tactical projections with growing concern. Beside him stood Grand Strategist Cato and the newly appointed conclave military liaison, Iraxis, a member of the avian Thelon species. Their expansion pattern defies conventional strategy, Iraxis observed, his feathered crest rising in distress. They're ignoring valuable resources, bypassing strategic positions. Kaito zoomed the display to focus on the worlds targeted. There's a pattern here, but not a military one. These worlds share certain characteristics, specific atmospheric compositions, particular geological formations. They're selecting habitats, Blackwood realized, not targets. The doors slid open as Captain Malik entered, accompanied by Senior Science Officer Ryvan Kell, whose pioneering work on quantum communications had revolutionized Earth's defense network. Admiral, Kell began without preamble, we've decrypted portions of the Valoth transmissions intercepted at Proxima Centauri. They're not communicating, they're transforming. Explain, Blackwood ordered. Kell activated her own data feed, displaying complex molecular structures. The Valoth vessels aren't just ships, they're seed carriers. Each one contains billions of microscopic terraforming organisms programmed to convert planetary environments. Convert them to what? Iraxis demanded. Into environments suitable for Valoth colonization, Kell replied grimly. The process breaks down all existing biomatter at the molecular level, reconstructing it into forms compatible with Valoth biology. Horrified understanding dawned on Kaido's face. It's not an invasion. It's a galactic-scale conversion project. Precisely, Kell confirmed. And based on the transmission patterns, they've been planning this for thousands of years. The Conclave's containment merely delayed them while they perfected their conversion technology. Blackwood turned to Iraxis. Did the Conclave know this? Is that why they were so determined to keep the Valoth contained rather than attempting to eliminate them? The Thelon's feathers flattened against his body, a sign of embarrassment or shame. The full nature of the Valoth threat was known only to the founding Species Council. Even I was unaware of these details. So much for alliance transparency, Malik muttered. What matters now is response, Blackwood said firmly. If these are terraforming ships rather than conventional warships, our defense strategies need complete revision. Kell nodded. That's why I'm here. I've analyzed the molecular disruptor technology the Valoth use. We can't stop their ships with conventional weapons. We need to target the transformation process itself. You've developed a countermeasure? Iraxis asked, hope evident in his voice. Not yet, Kell admitted. But I believe we can. The quantum mesh technology we used against the Conclave fleet at Jupiter could be modified to disrupt the molecular conversion wave the Valoth deploy. Blackwood considered this. How quickly can you adapt it? With full access to Conclave biological research data? Perhaps 2 weeks. You have 4 days, Blackwood told her. The Valoth fleet will reach the Epsilon Corridor's outer marker by then. As Kell departed with Malik to begin work, Blackwood turned back to the tactical display. Iraxis, I need everything the Conclave has on Valoth biology. Everything. No more secrets. The Thelon hesitated momentarily before nodding. I will request. Immediate clearance from the Council. Don't request, Kaito said coldly. Inform them. Earth vessels are the only thing standing between the Conclave and extinction. The time for political maneuvering is over. After Iraxis departed, Blackwood turned to Kaito. We're missing something. Why now? The Valoth have been contained for 9 millennia. What changed? Kaito studied the display thoughtfully. Perhaps nothing changed for them. Perhaps they've always been executing this plan, moving at their own pace. Or perhaps, Blackwood said slowly, they've been waiting for something specific, a catalyst. The Epsilon Corridor, Kaito realized. It's not just a convenient route. It's critical to their conversion plan somehow. That's why they moved the moment it was discovered. Blackwood's eyes hardened. Contact Earth Command. I want every scan, every piece of data we have on the corridor's unique properties. If the Valoth want it this badly, understanding why might be our only advantage. As alerts signaled another Conclave world going dark, Blackwood stared at the advancing wave of destruction on the display. We warned the Conclave about the corridor. Now we need to understand what we really discovered. The Epsilon Corridor blazed with weapons fire as the combined Earth Conclave fleet engaged the Valoth vanguard. 3 days of continual battle had left dozens of ships drifting as lifeless hulks, their crews evacuated where possible, sacrificed where necessary. On the bridge of the EWS Defiance, now serving as the forward command vessel, Captain Malik monitored the shifting battle lines. The quantum disruption fields had proven partially effective, slowing the Valoth advance but not stopping it. Status report, he ordered, voice hoarse from days without proper rest. Lieutenant Nova, her uniform scorched from an electrical fire. During the last engagement, consulted her displays. Sector 3 holding with 62% strength. Sectors 1 and 4 compromised. The Thelon cruisers are falling back to secondary positions. And Sector 2? Nova hesitated. The Valoth have broken through. They're advancing on the corridor's primary junction. Malik's jaw tightened. If the Valoth secured that junction, they could bypass the defensive line entirely. Order Phoenix Squadron to reinforce. We can't lose that position. Phoenix Squadron reports critical damage to 60% of their vessels, Nova replied. They're requesting permission to withdraw for emergency repairs. Before Malik could respond, the communications system activated, displaying Admiral Blackwood's face from the command center on Jupiter Station. Captain, prepare to execute Operation Sunforge. Authorization code Omega-7 Delta 9. Malik straightened, recognizing the classification level. Sir, Sunforge is still experimental. Dr. Kell reported the targeting systems weren't fully calibrated. Circumstances have changed, Blackwood replied grimly. We've deciphered the Valoth objective. They're not just using the corridor for transit, they're planning to weaponize it, to create what amounts to a galaxy-wide conversion wave. If they secure the primary junction, we lose everything. Malik nodded sharply. Understood, Admiral. Initiating Sunforge protocols. As Blackwood's image disappeared, Malik turned to Nova. Signal all Earth vessels to fall back to minimum safe distance. Inform Conclave Command of immediate withdrawal requirements. Sir, Nova questioned. Should I explain why? No time, Malik replied. Just tell them it's by order of Earth High Command. As the fleet began its orchestrated withdrawal, Nova worked frantically at her console. Sunforge deployment ships moving into position. Quantum matrix stabilizers online. The Valoth, sensing opportunity in the apparent retreat, accelerated their advance toward the junction. Their organic-looking ships pulsed with what sensors identified as increasing energy signatures, preparation for a massive conversion wave. They think we're abandoning the corridor, Nova observed. Let them. Malik said coldly. Sunforge status? Matrix deployment complete in 30 seconds. All Earth vessels will clear minimum safe distance in 45 seconds. Nova paused. Sir, 3 Conclave cruisers haven't acknowledged the withdrawal order. Malik grimaced. Open a direct channel. The view screen flickered to show Araxis, the Thelon liaison, his feathers singed and bridge around him damaged. Captain Malik, we cannot withdraw. The Founding Council has ordered us to hold position regardless of cost. Damn it, Araxis, you don't understand what's coming, Malik snapped. This isn't about the battle anymore. We're changing the playing field entirely. Understanding dawned in the alien's eyes. The humans have developed a super weapon. Not a weapon, Malik corrected. A solution. But you need to withdraw now. You have less than 20 seconds. Araxis hesitated, then nodded sharply. Understood, Captain. May your aim be true. The communication cut off as the Thelon vessels finally began their retreat. Sunforge deployment complete, Nova announced. Matrix stable, awaiting activation command. Malik took a deep breath. Initiate Sunforge protocol. Authorization. Malik 007 Epsilon. Throughout. The corridor, previously hidden devices, activated simultaneously, generating an interlocking field of quantum disturbances far more powerful than anything used before. The field expanded rapidly, enveloping the advancing Valoth fleet. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the fabric of space itself appeared to shimmer around the Valoth ships. Their organic hulls began to vibrate, molecular bonds destabilizing, under the precisely tuned quantum field. It's working, Nova whispered. The Valoth vessels, designed to transform other matter, found their own molecular structures being rewritten by the Sunforge field. Ship after ship began to dissolve, not into destruction, but into harmless constituent elements. The converters converted by a humanity that had understood their enemy's nature and turned it against them. As the last Valoth ship disintegrated, Malik allowed himself to exhale. Signal Admiral Blackwood. Phase 1 successful. Nova looked up from her console, eyes wide. Captain, I'm detecting multiple subspace ruptures, massive energy signatures. It's another Valoth fleet, much larger than the first. Malik's moment of victory evaporated. How many? Hundreds, sir. Maybe thousands. They're appearing throughout Conclave space. The tactical display updated to show the true scale of the Valoth invasion. The first wave had been merely a test, a probe to gauge resistance. The main force was now emerging, having watched and learned. They were testing our defenses, Malik realized. And now they know about Sunforge. The comms system activated again, showing Blackwood's face, now joined by Dr. Kell and Ambassador Frost. Captain, Blackwood said without preamble, the Conclave High Council is requesting emergency talks. In light of the new Valoth fleet, they're proposing full military integration. Not just alliance, but unified command. Under Earth leadership. Frost's expression was grim but satisfied. They've finally recognized that their approach to Galactic security has failed. They need us, our tactics, our willingness to take necessary risks. What about Sunforge? Malik asked. It worked, but the energy requirements were massive. We can't deploy it on this scale. Dr. Kell leaned forward. Not as currently configured, no. But with Conclave resources and full access to their technology, archives, we can adapt it. The principles are sound. Blackwood nodded. The Conclave representatives are being transported to Earth now for formal negotiations. In the meantime, we need to establish a defensive perimeter. The Valoth may have numbers, but they've lost the element of surprise. And they've revealed something else, Frost added. Their dependence on the corridor. Kell's analysis confirms it. The Epsilon corridor's unique properties are necessary for their galaxy-wide conversion plan. As long as we hold it, we limit their options. Malik studied the tactical display, watching as Earth and Conclave vessels regrouped into new defensive formations. Earth warned them about the corridor, he said quietly. Now our warships guard every exit. Indeed they do, Captain, Blackwood replied with grim satisfaction. And the galaxy is finally beginning to understand why. As the communication ended, Malik turned to Nova. Set course to rendezvous with the main fleet. We have a new war to plan. The Defiance's engines flared as it accelerated away from the corridor that had become humanity's first true galactic battleground, and the catalyst for their emergence as a power that could no longer be dismissed. The observation deck of the Conclave Central Station offered a panoramic view of Earth's newest achievement, the Sentinel Array, a massive network of interconnected platforms surrounding the Epsilon Corridor's main junction. Each platform housed a modified Sunforge emitter, capable of molecular disruption on a scale previously thought impossible. Admiral Blackwood stood flanked by representatives of a dozen alien species, watching as the final platform moved into position. Beside him, Ambassador Frost and Dr. Kell observed with quiet pride. "The array is impressive," acknowledged High Arbiter Loxran, his gaseous form now showing the blue-green coloration of respect. "A fitting shield for what we now understand to be the most strategically important location in the galaxy," Blackwood nodded. "The Valoth threat is contained, but not eliminated. They'll try again. And when they do," Frost added, "they'll face not just Earth, but a united front." The Treaty of Sol, signed 3 months earlier, had fundamentally restructured galactic politics. Earth, once dismissed as a primitive newcomer, now held the position of defense coordinator for the reformed Galactic Conclave. The knowledge and technology of 800 species flowed freely to human scientists and strategists, accelerating Earth's development at an unprecedented rate. "We've received the latest reports from the outer defensive rings," reported Mirkal, now serving as Conclave liaison to Earth Command. "No Valoth activity detected in monitored sectors." Dr. Kell studied the holographic representation of the array's quantum field. "The molecular disruption barrier is stable. If they attempt another conversion wave, the feedback will neutralize their own ships first." From the corner of the observation deck, Captain Malik approached with Commander Akamatsu. "Admiral, the joint fleet exercises are complete. The integrated command protocols are functioning at 94% efficiency, better than projected." "Excellent," Blackwood replied. "And the new warship designs?" "The first generation of hybrid vessels will launch next month," Akamatsu confirmed. "Conclave, technology with human tactical systems. The Vexari shipyards are already at full production capacity." High Arbiter Loxran's form pulsed thoughtfully. "In 17 millennia, the Conclave never developed true warships. We believed them unnecessary, an evolutionary dead end." "Evolution responds to environmental pressure," Dr. Kell observed. "Humanity evolved under constant threat. From nature, from ourselves, and finally from the stars. We became what we needed to be. And now the galaxy needs what you have become," Mirkal acknowledged, mandibles clicking in a pattern humans now recognized as profound respect. Ambassador Frost gazed out at the vast network of defenses surrounding the corridor. "When we first discovered faster-than-light travel, we feared what we might find among the stars. Ancient civilizations that would view us as primitives, threats we couldn't comprehend. Instead," Blackwood said quietly, "we found a galaxy that needed what humanity has always excelled at, the willingness to stand and fight when necessary, to draw lines that cannot be crossed." The observation deck fell silent as a new vessel emerged from Earth's direction. The EWS Vigilant, first of the new Defender-class carriers, its hull incorporating technologies from a dozen worlds, its weapons designed by the finest minds of 3 species, its mission clear in its very design. "Earth warned them," Malik said, echoing the phrase that had become something of a mantra throughout human space. "Now our warships guard every exit, and the galaxy," Blackwood finished, "is safer for it." As the massive ship took its position, at the heart of the defensive array, lights throughout the station dimmed momentarily as a quantum communication pulse spread outward at impossible speed, carrying the same message to every world, every outpost, every ship. The Epsilon Corridor. Stand secure, humanity stands watch, and any threat to galactic peace will face the same response. Swift, decisive, and absolute. In the vastness of space, thousands of Earth vessels maintained their vigilant positions, a fleet that had transformed from humanity's shield to the sea, galaxy's sword. A reminder to enemies and allies alike that the youngest species among the stars had proven to be its most determined defender. Earth had warned them. Now their warships guarded every exit, and the galaxy slept more soundly for it